Previously on Unranked.
So the library in our town had Happy Noon Day, or Happy Noon Year instead of Happy New Year.
Happy Noon Day.
Happy Noon Day.
They had Happy Noon Day, which I thought was peculiar. I was curious as to why they were doing this.
It started at 10:30 and ended at noon, and she had a blast.
As Happy Noon Day does.
As it does. She had a blast. She was loving the dancing. She was, I was impressed. She played with the toys and then was dancing, and I was pretty impressed, actually. There was a guitar solo happening, and she's got the guitar, and she's strumming.
No
it was so
way.
funny.
That's
hell yeah.
You see her? Trying to strum.
not quite.
I saw...
You thought she was, wait, you
went like this. You went like this.
Yeah, well, it's like, I'm going to go like this? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
You made it seem like she was rocking out.
She's 2!
Well, I thought that's why it was impressive.
Vintage podcast.
Vintage podcasting.
Hello and welcome to the 410th episode of the Unranked podcast. Goodbye, single digits in the 400s. Hello, doubles. Won't see those single digits for another 90 episodes, Tom.
Can you believe it?
Or as Tuna would say, chick, can you believe it?
Yeah, unfortunately, because Tuna was so insulted that I wasn't impressed by his daughter's guitar, he is also no longer on the no. He is actually in I guess in the thick of it. I think his daughter is still sick, so
yeah,
it's just it's not his time, unfortunately, not with us this week.
There was a clip from that I almost used, which was him saying, like, she doesn't listen to me anymore and I'll tell her to do stuff and she just says no or ignores me. Now, I wish I had left that in because he was like, he texted us like minutes ago. I was like, I'm sorry, she's not going to bed. I have to stay up.
Yeah, we were playing Halo last night and he was talking about how she's got a little attitude on her. And then he mentioned something about himself and we were like, oh, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's funny with that. I got some shit in the Discord there. Go check out the Discord. Go join the shit slinging that was happening in Discord about this moment. Here's the thing: if your kid doesn't impress me, I'm not going to just humor you.
Yeah, this is like X Factor,
especially 2 years in. I feel like maybe the first 6 months. Oh, it's so cute. But if you say something and then it's not living up to the hype, I'm not going to do it. Now, he's been trying to impress me. I'm Simon Cowell. He keeps sending audition tapes for his daughter. And he sent one, and, her playing with her ukulele. He sent one today that was very clearly her, like, bopping along to the music and strumming. Yes, she is not strumming in the proper way that you would strum an instrument.
She's still closer to plucking, but this was...
She's doing it on beat. She's been doing it on beat, and she's bopping back and forth, like she's swinging around as she's listening to the music. Rockin' Robin, which apparently has been on repeat in their household since November.
This goes above a 5 out of 10 now. This is a 6. That was a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, yeah. And especially Tuna, it's so funny for him to get so uppity about it when I feel like pre-baby he would have. He's had some words about, oh, everyone's impressed by babies. I don't think they're, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like that, I'm going to be real with you, bro.
But he doesn't post stuff though.
He doesn't post stuff. His wife will post stuff and like tag him and then he will just repost it, which I think is the funniest thing.
Yes.
It's his equivalent of me sending him a picture of the moon. But he sends cute videos of her all the time, and I'm always like, she's so cute in this moment, or she's so funny. So when something doesn't cut the mustard, I'm not gonna belittle you by being like, oh, that's so good. I'm being a real friend.
Yeah, we're not trying to raise weak, vain children.
No. We gotta, they gotta be realistic in this day and age. It's 2024. Come on now.
2 white guys without kids are telling people what to do.
Right.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Good podcast.
Good podcast.
Tom,
I
need to go.
If you want.
I forgot really quick. I need to go put my teeth in. I'll be right back.
Okay. while Crisco puts his teeth in, I'm gonna pull up this week's Pokemon.
Yeah, I just ate, so I had to take them out.
Yeah, my mom has Invisalign too, so she's always taking it
Oh
in,
yeah,
taking it in, taking out of teeth. Yeah.
taking the teeth out. It's so weird. Now I'm gonna have like a slight. Hello, welcome to Unranked Podcast. Um, they're weird, Tom. Invisalign's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's very
interesting.
strange.
I've never my mom has them in all the time, and I never feel like she sounds different, but I don't know.
I'm sure I'll get used to it over
Get used
time.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had them for 1 week, you know.
There you go. There you
So,
go.
how long has she had it?
I feel like not very long,
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
but I mean, it's been longer than a week. It's been maybe a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mine end in October. Mine's 19. I have like 19 trays. Every 2 weeks I change out to the next one and then the next one
gotcha.
and then that's it.
Good for the podcast.
Yeah. By the end of October, that's it. No more. It'll be great.
There we go.
I mean that's kind of great. As someone who didn't have to wear braces. I know those lasted like a lot longer on people and
Oh
were
yeah, 100%.
way worse. And you have those like metal rods in your teeth and stuff. It seems like a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
a fan. Not a fan.
Tom, let's jump into today's Pokemon.
Pokemon.
So today we have the 410th Pokemon. Alex is gonna see. This is what happens if you miss the day. If you miss a day, Pokemon gets on the board. We're not moving
Mm,
Pokemon back around,
no,
right?
we're
Once
not.
you're on the board, you're on the board.
Once
Is
you're
how I
on,
think it goes.
once you're on, you're on. I agree. No faffing
So
about.
last week we ended one fossil Pokemon. Today we start another. Today we have Sheildon.
Great.
Tom, can you
Yeah.
take over today's etymology of Sheildon?
Sure. So Sheildon is a rock steel Pokemon. Um, its name may be a combination of shield and dawn, a common suffix in dinosaur names derived from the ancient Greek word for tooth. Taetops, which is its Japanese name, may be a combination of Tate, which is shield, and Ceratops, or ops, common suffix in dinosaur names derived from the ancient Greek word for face, which makes a lot of sense because it's all about the face, right? Because it's got a big
Yeah.
shield for the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Ceratops, not just Triceratops. There are a lot of shield dinosaurs. There are a lot of shielded saurs. There's some that have like really crazy horns, but most people just know, the standard Triceratops. So this is sort of based on a animal in that family, but not Triceratops in particular. I think it's very cute.
Yeah.
I think the coloring is an interesting choice.
I like it. I think it's unique. I think that it stands out. Like I like this one a lot actually, and it is cute, but it also is cool. It
Oh, it
like
is
it like
cool.
takes I think it I think it ticks both boxes for me, which I think is where you want a first evolution Pokemon to be. It's cute, but it has a lot of promise. You can look at that and be like, that's gonna turn into a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy with Shieldon. Do you want to do Pokedex too?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the Pokedex here. It
Okay.
is we're gonna talk about the Heart Gold Soul Silver, which is it was generated from a fossil dug out of a layer of clay that was older than anyone knows. It has a sturdy face. I don't really like that just talks more about the fossil. Um, what an interesting choice to make there. You don't really talk about the Pokemon. Let's do Pokemon Platinum. It is outstandingly armored. As a result, it can eat grass and berries without having to fight.
Okay.
He's like, hey, I'm not a carnivore. I'm just here to get my grass, my berries. No one's gonna fuck with
No
me
one, no
because
one's
you're gonna
fucking
waste your
with him.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, happy about that. Yeah, I mean, in the ranking, I think this is gonna go higher than quite a number of the ones we have. Let me pull up the note here.
I
Um,
think I know where I want to put it,
mhm.
but I'm gonna wait and see what you think.
Okay. Ooh. I mean, there's the Shinx there's the Shinx barrier.
There's a big Shanks barrier,
There's a
Tom.
big Shinx barrier.
It's a big Shinx barrier.
Hmm. Is it? I mean, I feel like you're fiending for right under
I'm
Shinx.
not.
Okay.
I immediately had the exact same thought of like I went, oh, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me wonders if we made a mistake already putting Luxio above Shanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd put it right under Shinx.
Right under Shanks? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's rock steel, so that's for me. Like, I'm just not really interested in those ones. Although that's kind of a useful combo.
It is, it is. But then like I look at Shanks and I go, no way. Shanks is cooler.
Shinx is
Shanks
a
is so cute.
quintessential. You're gonna have Shinx in the party. Like, it's just not happening. Yeah.
Shanks, honestly, we may have put Shanks too low.
Well,
It's too
it's not
late. It's
moving.
too
We
late.
already decided.
It's in
Yeah.
the right
So
place. It's
yeah.
in the right
So
place.
yeah. Yeah.
All right, Sheildon, Pokemon number 15 on our list, right? You know, very close to the middle, in the middle five, essentially, is where we're at
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
So good for Shanks and Sheildon. It's in the middle five with Piplup, Luxio, Staraptor, Shanks, and Sheildon. That's 11 through 15. So that's not bad. That's good company to have, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Good
it's
company to have.
nice. It's nice, and honestly, if it, I I feel like it's closer to Shinx than it is further away from Shinx as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All
Cool.
right. Well, let's move on
Done.
from that.
Done and done.
Done and done. What's been going on, bud? You mentioned Halo. We played a lot. We've been playing a lot of Halo
We've
lately,
been
Tom.
into it. We have been
Yeah,
into it, dude.
yeah,
Enjoying it.
yeah.
We had one really great night, and we've kind of been chasing that high and not been performing on that level, which has been disappointing, but it's still just so much fun. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's just like a good amount of content there. I was talking to Chris. I was like, man, I love how the battle passes are, you can go to the previous ones, but also the way that they handle the battle pass. If you've never played a live service game, which I'd find it hard to believe, but usually a battle pass has a mix of free and premium items, and it usually is interspersing those at different levels. So like levels 1 through 4 would be a premium, and then like 5 would be free, and then you'd have a couple of premium, and then there'd be a free one. The way that Halo does it is that it's like the first like 20 or 30 levels are all free, and then after that is premium. So if you don't want to spend money on the battle pass, you're not leveling up and just getting premium stuff, or missing out on getting stuff because like it's being taken up by premium slots. So
Mhm.
that in combination with the fact you can go back and get stuff just makes it like, oh no, I actually want to like load up an old battle pass and get all the free stuff. And you can still buy the old battle pass if you want. um and then also like my brain likes to see that, like, oh, I didn't buy the battle pass, I got to the full free lot tier, it shows that it's complete, like the bar is full on the screen. And I was like, that's great. So there's a lot of design stuff like that that I'm a big fan of. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it and itching to, we've been playing a lot of it, especially
Yes,
since we've all had various VR headsets in the shop.
that's true. It's been a really
Yeah.
good time. Well, Alex has had his VR headset in the shop. That's part of why we've been playing, I think, more because we would be playing Demio right now.
Yes, we've been enjoying
Yeah.
Demio. We played through the first campaign, had a bunch of fun with that one, champing at the bit to get onto the rest of the campaigns. Yeah. I haven't been playing too much VR stuff recently, although I have been using it as a monitor. It's so cool to all
Yeah,
of the mixed reality stuff is so
I think it's
impressive.
fine. There's a bit of a delay. There's a small bit of a delay. It's very
Small.
useful,
Yeah.
but I don't think the clarity, like, it's not as good as looking at my screen.
No, it's not. It isn't. It is not, but you can have a much bigger screen.
I can.
Yeah.
but it's still mirroring it. So I'm not like actually getting more out of it. It's not like
Sure.
an extra display.
I mean, it's not. Well, you can have it as an additional display.
Oh, you can? Maybe
Yeah,
on
there's an.
PC. I didn't
I'm
see how
using
to
an.
do that on Mac.
Oh no, yeah, I'm using an app called Immersed.
Oh, okay. So you have to use
Yeah,
another app to do that.
yeah, and you can have a bunch of just you can have a bunch of displays. Although I do just end up mirroring it. Um, but yeah, I mean, in terms of things I have been playing, I've just been still at the old backlog, still tons of games that
Oh, ye
I
old
need to finish.
backlog.
Yeah. Honestly, the most I've been playing, the one I keep returning to, and I'm very close to finishing, is the Cyberpunk expansion, which continues to impress. Idris Elba's accent continues to not impress me.
Fuck.
But the storyline and stuff is cool. There's lots of interesting twists and turns, some really cool set pieces in this like back half. Been enjoying it a lot. I've been playing a lot of Lies of P, which is the Pinocchio Souls-like that came out last year.
Mhm.
People really like this one, and I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think it does some things really solidly. I do think it kind of nails the flow of combat, which is the thing it needs to do best. But there's some stuff that I feel like it's lacking, and like a lot of people are really putting this up on a pedestal as like the best from software game. And it I could maybe give it that award, but I think that it's not as much of a standout in that category as people seem to be making it out. I think the movement is like moving the character is pretty clunky. I think that the bosses are not the level of difficulty I'm looking for. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
get, yeah, they can be tough. But if you,
They're not brutal,
yeah,
and
they're
you
not.
kind of want it to be.
I just want, I can do them in kind of a few. Once I've done a few moves and kind of read their like their movements and timings, they become pretty trivial, especially because you can have aides join you, which a lot of Souls games allow you to have like a specter, like an NPC come and join. Like Elden Ring allows you to do that, but there's still like a challenge in there, and like if you fuck up timing too much, like you're done for. Whereas in Lies of P, you just kind of need to get a read of the enemy's moves, and then once you've done that, like I don't think I have taken more than 5 attempts to take down a boss, which is great. It means I'm speeding through the game. Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
close to the end of it now. But the feeling of like overcoming one of these motherfuckers after like hours and hours of tries, like is
Who are your enemies? Who are you fighting against? Like the circus freaks? Like,
so the premise is that there's a like Geppetto has created these puppets, and like puppets basically it's like an iRobot story. Puppets serve humans. Puppets have uh broken free of their command and have like it's called the puppet frenzy, and they've slaughtered the city. So you're like cleaning up the city, so you're taking on puppet enemies, but there are also like human enemies that are hunting you and like tracking you down because you are also a puppet because you're Pinocchio. um and the like it's called Lies of P, obviously because Pinocchio lies, but there is like a gameplay element to it where puppets cannot lie in the law of this world, and there's the fact that you can is like a unique thing, and so there's actually some gameplay elements that utilize it, which is very cool. Like I do really like the lore of this game, and I think that one thing that I enjoy about it is that so many Souls games are very obtuse in their story, and this really strikes a nice balance of not immediately being like, you are Pinocchio, you have to fight the puppets. Like it's not on the nose blatant, but it isn't obtuse, it isn't obscure what the story is. You are able to follow along as to, okay, I have to go here because I need to find this person so that they can link me up with such and such and all this. Enemy variety is or is one thing, you bring up, who am I fighting? That is also something that I think is a little bit of a detractor. Souls games traditionally, like every new area you step into, it's something wildly different. And for most of the game, it's been like the same 4 or 5 like puppet enemy types. It does throw some interesting stuff in the mix along the way, but was surprised how much I was still fighting toward the latter half of the game, how much I was still fighting like the same generic grunt type puppets. So
Yeah,
I think it's also lacking
little
in that
Geppetto
area
fucks.
too. Little Geppetto fucks, yeah. Level design I think is fantastic. I think that that is something that is on a From Software level of the way that it intricately builds the levels and where it places shortcuts and how intuitive all of that is, and like finding all the different hidden paths you can take to like get through a level and make it quicker and easier to get through. I think that is on a From Software level. And then yeah, it's just a beautiful game. I think the design is very impressive. So I'm enjoying it, but it isn't as so I don't know if I would put it in my top 10 of the year, and I know that a lot of people were really high on it like that. Um so yeah, just been playing those. Those are the big two really, but dabbling in other things. Lot of
Well,
finals. Been playing lots of finals, I'll tell you that.
yeah, I thought about dipping into the finals, but I'm not playing that unless it's you and Alex. Like that doesn't seem like a fun game to play unless it's 3 people. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm only playing it really with my other than getting in like a game here and there when I have like 10 minutes. I'm playing it with my friend Kenny
Mhm.
and some of his friends. And it's really fun when you are and you really can only succeed when you are communicating on that level. It's I would never attempt like a tournament or anything with just myself free balling it. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
lots of good games
Hell
out.
yeah.
That Prince of Persia
Um,
game apparently is very good. I'm like, fuck, god damn
well, Tom, what if I
it.
told you that in the last week I've started and beaten another game? Started game, beat a game 1 week.
I
Last
want to
week.
hear it.
What if I told you that Alex and I together have started and beaten a game in one?
Is it the we happy not we happy few? What's the name of those games you guys like?
Or we were here? No, but it is an
Yeah.
escape. It is an escape game.
Okay.
If there's an escape game that's got co-op, we're playing. It's
Yeah.
basically how this works.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for one that has more than 2 players,
Yeah.
that where we could do like group escape, like when we did with the Fortnite one. That was so much fun. Um, so Escape Academy is on Game Pass.
Right. Yes, I've heard of this one.
Tom, Tom, Tom. We're master escapers, let me tell you. Escape Academy, it's like My Hero Academia. You're going to a school of like escapists.
Right.
It's a very small like indie game. Like the animations, the models, the people and stuff are not, great, and like, they're just cutouts who talk like you're in like a dating sim. It's not like real characters or 3D school or anything. But the idea is, like we're gonna level up. They're gonna teach us how to be like the best escapists in the world. And like those early missions, like because the difficulties instead of stars are keys, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keys. Tom, especially the 1 and 2 keys, it's like they should have transferred our credits from We Were Here because we are we were smoking those things. We were beating them in
Yeah.
minutes. We were just flying
Interesting.
through this thing. And then like we did some 3 keys and it was like, oh, 25 minutes in this one. Beat it in 15. All right. Got to this one, beat it in 10. Like we crushed it. And then we yesterday beat the final mission, which was like really long and like very cool the way that it worked. It was like 45-minute long mission. Um it's great. It was great. We got A+ on every single mission.
Oh,
um, we
wow.
fucking crushed it. Yeah. But now
Is
we
there
bought
an
the
S
DLC.
level or no?
Is there a what?
S.
No, there's
Oh,
no
because I
S
guess it's
tier. There's no
school. Because
S
I
tier.
guess it's
Yeah.
school,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Alex brought that up. He goes, "Oh, but do you think we could get an S tier?" I was like, "I don't think so. Let's just
Um,
let's just stick with the A+ and let's move on."
yeah, yeah, I feel that.
This one though was cool because it does some stuff with We Were Here, where it's like I'll be looking at something and like giving him info so he can solve something else, but it's not asymmetric. We're always in the rooms together. Like we're
Mm,
not split up. And
yeah,
so
right.
it actually does the thing that It Takes Two does, where when you're playing co-op, it actually has a split screen. So I can see his screen and he can see mine.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And it's great for like, oh, we had to defuse a bomb on one level. So like I just was like, okay, I'll look at the schematics, and then he goes to the bomb and I just leave my screen on the schematic so he can figure out what to do. Like, so there's like a lot of that. Like, oh, he found the clue for the thing I was working on. Okay, just like pull it up on your screen and then I'll work over here and do the thing. And then it's very fun. It's a very fun game.
Yeah, good things about it when it came out.
It's very simple and very short. I think it's like 12 missions, and a bunch of
Okay.
them, the first handful are, it's also got local co-op. You and Brooke could play this together. It would actually be really fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that definitely. I'll bring that up
Yeah.
for her. She would probably enjoy that quite a
And
bit.
it's not overly difficult. Like this is a lot easier than we were here. We didn't really slam our heads against anything. And some of the puzzles were like really fun and clever with like the set pieces and stuff. There's one with like globes and like star patterns and stuff where you're like, all right, this is some cool shit that we're doing right here with this.
S-
Tom, there was one that was like a Game Busters.
Oh
There
my
was just like
God.
one clue that like we were trying to figure out. And Alex was like, wait a second. He goes, say this out loud. He was like, what does that sound like? And I was like, oh my God. And
That's
that was the
amazing.
answer.
That's amazing. Speaking of Brooke, I texted you guys during the middle of the week, and I'm disappointed that Tuna isn't here to hear this. Maybe we can make it the previously on for next week so we can hear this. So I
Mm.
texted you guys, and I was like, I just learned something about the way that Brooke's mind works, and
Oh, yes. Oh,
blown
yes.
away. So this is what happened. Brooke is watching something on her computer,
Yeah.
and it looks like she was watching a show a while ago. She watches a lot of old trash TV, and she was watching a while ago Say Yes to the Dress. Okay. And so she's just got this on the background, and it looked like Say Yes to the Dress. And I was like, are you rewatching Say Yes to the Dress? Like, what is going on? And she was like, no, this is a different thing. It's on Netflix. I don't know what it is. I was like, okay. She was like, yeah. She's like, it looks like Say Yes to the Dress. She's like, but all these reality shows from the early 2000s kind of looked like that, right? Like it's easy to conflate them. I was like, I agree. Then I was just like hearing stuff in the background, and it's a matchmaking show. It's Millionaire Matchmaker is the name of the show. They recently added it to Netflix, and the guy was getting asked. It was this dude, and he was being asked. I guess he was being asked who his celebrity crush was, and he answered Taylor Swift. And I was like, I just overheard this, and I was like, wait, Taylor Swift? Like earliest Taylor Swift was a thing was like 2008, maybe like late 2000s. And so I just made the comment to her. I was like, oh, early 2000s? Like, and she's like, yeah, like, like 2009, 2008. I was like, wait, no, what are you talking about? Early 2000s. She's like, the early 2000s. I'm
It
like,
is.
that's
It's
the
the early 2000s of the century.
well of the millennium, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, do you think when
Not
people
the
say
early noughts.
right, do you think that when people say the early 2000s that they mean like the early the early years of the 2000s millennium? And but it wasn't even that. She just thought the early 2000s meant earlier in the 2000s. Like
Sure.
we're currently in the late 2000s right now, according to her.
Well,
No. This is what she's described to me. She
all
like
right.
the late 2000s would be like 2020. Like 2020 to her, that's late 2000s. Early 2000s is like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I'd
When
say
it's
that's like the
when it's
modern 2000s, but okay.
when it's 2070, now will be the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It'll shift as time goes on.
Here's
This
the thing
this
though, I might
metric.
think about stuff in like the mid 2000s, like the mid noughts, and be
Yes.
thinking like 2000. Like I might say the early 2000s, but I actually mean like 2005 to 2010,
Sure,
just
but
because everything, is 10 years ago,
e-
not 20 years ago.
totally, and that's totally fine. Like, like to even call like 2008 like something that occurred in 2008 the other 2000s without even
Yeah.
thinking about it. I totally get that. But she was thinking about it. Her
Yeah.
thought process was the late 2000s are actually the early 2000s because the 2000s is describing the period of time between now and the year
Of course.
2000.
Yeah,
And so I went to her
that's
and I was
weird.
like, well, what do you think like the 90s is? And she was like, well, the 1990s. I was like, well, we're in the 20s now. Like, you
Yeah.
understand that, right? Like, this is the 20s. We call it the 2020s because we still have like a recency for the 1920s, but it's the 20s now.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "You're a special person. I love you so much. This is why we're dating." It's just so fucking funny. Yeah, so we're in the late 2000s right now, which is currently the late 2000s, but will at some point be the early 2000s.
Yeah, Brooke's weird. But
She's
you
a
knew
weird
that.
one. Yep, I did.
You definitely knew that.
I know. When she said it, I was like, I love that this is how you think about this. Like, that's fucking hilarious. Anyway.
So Therese was playing House Flipper. I got her that, and it's like a small developer, and it's got some glitches, and she ran into one that we can't seem to get past. So I got her another game on the Steam Deck called Coral Island, and this is also from like an indie dev, but this game is much better than like House Flipper. You know, you've seen those like power washing simulator, like those games look kind of junky. You know, like this game looks nice. This is like an Animal Crossing like. It also has like some random, almost Zelda like elements in the fact that there's like some magic you can get, and there are like a couple temples that you have to like do to like get the magic, so she can do things like fast travel and stuff.
Okay.
But it's also it's like Animal Crossing, but it's also a lot more like Stardew Valley.
Okay.
And it's 3D. So she's been playing that. She's taken over the Steam Deck, and the last week has basically been like she's on the Steam Deck. I'm on the Quest. I'm sitting there on the Tom. I'm getting like several hours of quests in a day, and I'm playing pretty much nothing in VR. Mixed reality is real. It's not really here yet because it's just good enough to work, really. Like, as much as people want to talk about big displays, with like, this thing doesn't really have the horsepower or the screen or the sensors to do what it needs to like make it the real experience that you want.
Yeah.
But man, it's so close, and it's close enough that it's great.
Yeah.
Next week, Around the World in 80 Days comes out in Walkabout Mini Golf. It's the last Jules Verne course. There's a new course coming out next week. So I was like, oh, I should watch like the best movie version of that. Turns out that it doesn't seem like there are any like definitive this is the best movie. But did you know, Tom? I was about to say last year. Now it's 2 years ago. 2022. They came out with a mini series, a season of it, Around the World in 80 Days, PBS,
Okay.
starring David Tennant.
Oh, okay.
And this is like some, like, I think it's called like masterpiece. It's a PBS masterpiece, so it has like a bunch of money behind it, I guess.
Okay.
It feels very much like a good BBC production, like a Doctor Who production.
Okay.
David Tennant is the perfect casting for this because it's just like, oh, you want someone to like go on a traveling adventure show, like
Right across the
great,
world, all
perfect,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
perfect. It's kind of funny though because he's like a really like his character's like a good guy, but he's also like a rich white guy
I'm gonna
from the
be honest.
1800s.
I got no idea what Around the World in 80 Days is even
He's
about.
a 1800s aristocrat. Like he's he's a rich white
Yeah.
man from the in the UK in the 1800s. He's arguably the problem, but but he's
Yeah.
actually like a really nice guy. And he travels with Mrs. Fix, who is like actually like the real like great adventurer, and this guy Passepartout, which this looks like almost like it's spelled like passport, which is great. I love that. Who is a Frenchman who's like a little bit of a con artist, but is also like a good guy. And it's great. It's great. It's 8 episodes. It was awesome. I loved it. Like, it's not
Yeah.
the best thing, I've ever watched.
Yeah.
But it's like really good. Like, I would say it feels like a
Yeah.
BBC like special production or something. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I was so pumped.
That's awesome. Something that I watched or have started watching that I am enjoying, but I would say is good, but not the best thing I've ever watched. Started watching Echo. I don't know if you started watching.
No, we're gonna start it
one.
next week.
I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I think that I really liked Alekwa Cox, who plays Maya in Hawkeye. Episode 1 is a lot of because this is positioned, and it even has its own special intro. It's positioned as a Marvel spotlight, which is apparently their branding for things that are meant to be able to like stand on their own. However,
I think it's more like you don't have to see this to see the movie.
Well, the way that they resolve this is that half of the first episode is really just shit that they showed in Hawkeye, like literally just like a clip show from Hawkeye. But there's some cool stuff in the first episode. I really do think Aliqua Cox is a fantastic actor. I think that the new cast members that they add are really really good too. Yeah, enjoying it. It's so far not the. It's interesting that it has the TV MA rating because there hasn't been anything I would say overly gratuitous yet. It still
Man,
feels like very
Disney's gonna
PG-13, but we'll see.
mostly put out mature Marvel stuff this year because of that and Deadpool,
And Deadpool.
the only Marvel movie this year.
It's the only
This is
Marvel movie
good.
this year.
We're gonna get a little break, and then all of the stuff that's gonna come out now is all gonna be post-COVID. There's not gonna be any like weird hinky stuff, and it's
Right.
Marvel's chance to come back.
It is
to retake their
100%. Like
throne.
Deadpool 3 is going to be a success for them. Like there's no way that movie is
Well,
not
I
gonna
hope
be.
so. I thought that second one was garbage.
Well, I completely agree. I do think Deadpool 2 is a terrible film, but I think
It was so bad.
look, it's Deadpool. We're getting Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine.
That is exciting. There's probably going to be a million cameos.
There's going to be a million cameos. The rumors for those cameos are out of this world.
You know what, Tom?
Yeah.
Because I got off of Twitter, like I literally, it's, I stopped using Twitter the day Elon took over. I am really out of the loop on stuff. I have not, which is great. I'm very excited about that.
If even half of the cameos that I've heard that are happening in this movie happen, you're gonna fucking be texting me being like, "What the fuck?"
That rules. I'm excited about that.
So we'll see about that one, but I think it'll be a big success for them. And then it's Echo this year. It's that Agatha TV show, which we'll see what happens.
See, it's so funny because the face you made as you said that, Tom, is how I feel about Echo, but I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Sure. Okay.
I could not care about this character at all. And I liked I know like it gets compared with what's his face? Daredevil. And like Daredevil was fine, but like all the religious stuff is and it's like I don't care. Like I don't care. But I'm gonna watch it anyway because we aren't really the only thing we're watching really right now is Traitors just started, which Tom, that's a show you should be watching with Brooke. The Traitors. Not the US version. US version is shit. But they have the Traitors UK on Peacock now in the US available.
Okay.
Therese likes it even more than Survivor.
Is it
I think
it's a reality game show thing?
It is, but it's the US one sucks because it's all celebrities. Which is like why are you doing that? Like
okay.
You lose all of the like real drama that you get from it being regular people when it's like everyone's like a known quantity and has big personalities and it's like everyone just treats it like a game and it's like so showy and it's like I think it's like not really funny or interesting, and it feels just very like fake and overproduced, whereas like the UK one being like regular people, that's the case everywhere. That's like what it's like in Canada and the other countries. Like only the US one are they like, hey, it's all celebrities basically, and we'll throw in some regular people, I guess. God, Tom, it's like the most brutal thing I've ever seen. It's because the round table, which they go around, and that's when it's like Mafia, where it's like, you have to find the traitors amongst the group. People are going on nothing. People don't fucking know. They don't know. But everyone's paranoid. Everyone is so fucking paranoid. And it's not like Survivor, where you're like trying to vote out like people that you think are like strong, like, because the goal is just get rid of all the traitors and you split the money. Like that's the goal. But instead, everyone is so paranoid and just comes up with these crazy ideas of each other. And then they start accusing people and they're wrong so often, Tom. And people are just like, they're like, I don't know why people think this about me. What did I do to make people? And it's so unbelievable. It's really good. It's really, really good. It's great. And when the traitors are good, it's good. And when the traitors are bad, it's also good because then you root against them. Like you can kind of, the show really frames it more for you to root for the traitors though than for
that's
the faithful.
Interesting. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Because you're watching it from their POV. So
because I was thinking, I was like, well, it sounds very much like the mole, but that simple like flip of like, well, really, you want the traitors to get away with it. Like that's good.
Because they have to do challenges to win money like the mole, but unlike the mole, the mole doesn't win the money. The mole's goal is to make them lose money, right? But not get caught. In this, the traitors also want to complete the challenges because they win the money if they're the
Gotcha.
survivors versus the
Gotcha.
faithful. So it's a very different dynamic, and it does remind me of the best bits of the mole in that way.
Okay.
So that's what makes it very good. The US one's fine, but it really loses something because of the cast. So,
Okay.
but we've been watching that in For All Mankind, which has its finale late tonight, which I think we're gonna stay up and watch it because we have family coming in this weekend. So I don't think we're gonna be able to watch it, and I don't want to like watch it with other people around. Um, Tuna caught up. He started watching it like 3 weeks ago, and he just caught up tonight. He watched 4 seasons of it, which is impressive for Tuna.
Impressive for Tuna, for sure.
Yeah. We want to talk about Attack on Titan finale in the post show?
Oh, yes. Attack on Titan finale post-show
Yeah.
spoilers. Yes. I completely forgot that we watched that. Yes.
Yeah, we should do that. So I will tell you, Tom, the game that I think is the best mixed reality game on the Quest so far is Lego. And I
Okay.
beat it yesterday as well. I
Oh,
beat
okay.
that.
Hell yeah.
It's so fun. Like a lot of the time, all the stuff you're just like building bridges or like construct a car. It's very simple stuff, but man, it's so fun. And it's like the ultimate like we've got the TV on, I've got something on in the background. I'm just sitting there and I'm playing Lego. Just playing
Okay,
Lego
dude.
for like hours at a time.
I played a chunk of that on
Apple
uh
Arcade.
no, I think I got a code for it
Oh,
on like PC or whatever when it first came out.
oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, VR seems well, MR, I guess, seems the way to play it for sure.
All I think though now is like I just keep thinking, Tom, like, God, I wish I had the Apple version of this though.
Yeah,
Because it's gonna be so much more powerful. Like
yeah,
it is, it's gonna be as powerful as my laptop is.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
essentially. Like, and I'm just like, man, like this Lego game looks nice, but what if it looked way fucking better? And
yeah.
what if I pass through looked way fucking like, oh, this Lego game doesn't have aliasing, especially when I'm doing like pass through. So like everything's like really sharp and kind of like jagged, and like the lighting is like fine, but it could be more dynamic. And I'm like, fuck. Gen 2, Tom, I don't think I'm going to be able to help myself. Gen 2 is going to probably be where I buy.
Well, we have news around the Vision Pro. If you want to jump into some
Yeah, we
news,
could jump into some news because then we can do a little mail and then we can do a little Attack on Titan.
yeah. Yeah, so the Apple Vision Pro, as you mentioned, it's coming, and we now have a release date. It's coming February 2nd, with pre-orders starting next week, I believe. Yeah, next Friday. Um, it's $3,500. They will have a very limited amount, I think, and the rumor is that it's like something like 80,000 initially that they're going to have for the first wave, and ultimately they're only planning to produce like a couple 100,000 of these things.
Yeah, I think it was like 500,000. Like
Something like that, which
it's a dev
makes
kit. It's a shiny dev kit.
yeah, which makes a lot of sense. And I think they will sell them. I think that if they do a 500,000, they'll sell those ones. It's not
Probably just to keep them to
so
buy alone.
right. So it's gonna have 3 spatial games when it launches. We're getting a game called Game Room, which we don't know anything about. Super
That's
Fruit Ninja,
probably, I would assume, like a our chat kind
yeah,
of
like
thing.
Rec Room or something.
Yeah.
There's Super Fruit Ninja, which I think was like kind of showcased in the Apple Vision Pro announcement, which is just AR Fruit Ninja.
Dude,
And
I wonder
yeah.
if they just took the Fruit Ninja Connect game and updated it.
Can you imagine? That would be, oh my God, that would be
I had
that would be
that. I
fun.
had that and I played that.
I mean, I played OG Fruit Ninja on iPhone a lot.
I
And
have
then
like a really embarrassing Facebook memory that comes up every year in November, and every year it's 1 year older, and it's like the Connect fucking rules. This is the future.
I have a lot of videos of me playing Connect Sports on like my Xbox, like saved to the Xbox cloud.
Hell
Those are probably
yeah.
some of my first ones. Final spatial game is What the Golf. Again, we have no details on what that's going to look like. What the Golf was an Apple Arcade launch title. It's very fun. You
It's
basically
so fun. I beat that. That's a great game.
you're playing golf, but every hole is like more absurd. So like
Yeah.
I think the first hole is like, yeah, you're hitting the ball, but then like the second hole, when you go to swing, it swings the club and you're trying to get the club into the hole.
Yeah.
And every level just kind of gets more and more absurd.
I mean, I'm
And so,
willing
yeah.
to bet right now, Tom, that that game is still the same view it normally is, and it's just going to be some sort of diorama top-down view, and it's going to be like the
Oh,
way
it's
the
gonna
Lego
be
mixed
like
reality is,
okay. Yeah,
and
it
it's
could
not
be.
going to be a VR version because that's
Yeah.
their whole thing. Is like they're going for mixed reality over
Yeah,
VR.
apparently they can't even say like you have to use like spatial.
Yeah.
Spatial is the word that you have to use in the thing. Like you can't, like the back end says like developers can't use the words augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, like any of this
I mean,
stuff. So
I think that's fine because they're doing the one thing they're doing that's different than everyone else is like this isn't necessarily an entertainment machine. They are trying to position this as like the first, like as a category versus a laptop. Like you have your desktop, you have your laptop, and now you have your spatial computer. Your spatial computer does the same functions as your desktop and your laptop, but you
just in
don't
a
need to have
different
the
format.
screens or the
Yeah.
keyboard. Yeah, like you can just do it all on the headset. So like I get the point of that.
Yeah. No, me
It's
too.
just
Yeah.
people are gonna fight tooth and nail, and in 5 years they'll just be saying it and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So that is happening then. Before the day before, you can pre-order an Apple Vision Pro if you are so inclined. Xbox's Developer Direct is happening. This was the event last year where we kind of got a glimpse at all their 2023 titles. This is the event last year where Hi-Fi Rush was shadow dropped. This year's Developer Direct is really interesting. We are getting a look at 4 games. We're getting a look at a game called Ara History Untold, which I think they've shown off before. This is like a not SimCity, Civilization kind of game. We're getting a deep dive into Avowed, which is Obsidian's fantasy RPG. Obsidian developed Fallout New Vegas. They made these Pillars of Eternity games, which are Baldur's Gate 3 like computer RPGs. This is a fantasy RPG first person set in the world of those games, and we're going to get a look at that. We're going to get a look at the behind the scenes of Hellblade 2, which is also scheduled for this year at Ninja Theory. But the big kind of marquee title is we're going to get our first look at the Indiana Jones game from Machine Games, which rumors now swirling that this is now planned for this year. It's going to be a 10-minute presentation on the game, which is really cool. We're going to get to see a lot of it. And I'm excited for this. Like, I think this is going to be a really, really sweet game, and I am,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, excited to see it. And I do think there's a really good chance it'll come out this year. And if that's the case, if all these 3 games come out, I think this is going to be Xbox's overall like strongest year that they're going to have for like a long time, or will have had
A
for
long time.
a long time.
For a long time.
2023 was I think a lot of people expecting that to be the year, but mixed opinions about a lot of the stuff that came out
everyone
from
says like a dev starts working on a game now and expects it like, they're looking at 5 to 7 years out. Like they didn't even buy a lot of these companies until after the pandemic started. Like the sales didn't go through. It's been 3 years.
yeah.
Like realistically, there's probably a lot of these games aren't still coming for another 2 years. Like,
Oh,
you know,
the games after
like
the stuff being
games from
announced, yeah.
companies that they bought in like 2020 and 2023 aren't going to be available until 2025 and 2027 at like the earliest. Like,
Well, if they
like
started developing them, then yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's what like the fruits of that labor like are long down the road, which is why like Xbox is in such a weird position with their console that it's like they could also just become the biggest third party in the world instead. Like,
Yeah.
who knows what they're gonna do? Like, there's too much money invested right now for them to go away. But I could see like if the next Xbox doesn't pan out, where they just instead of making it I mean, I don't know. There's too many different ways it can go, but
Yeah, it
it's
is
not going anywhere, and they're working on a new Halo. So
yeah, it is interesting. It is a precarious position that they are in. I make the argument that, and Phil Spencer made the same argument. He's like, we're not in the console business anymore. Like, we're looking beyond that. Like, we see the subscription business as our primary goal. Um, you know, how they expand that, how they bring that to other devices. I mean, obviously, you've seen things like the fact that you can stream games to the Oculus Quest. Like,
yeah,
they're really trying
which
to
by the
make it
way,
so that any
fucking
screen,
sweet.
yeah, it's cool stuff. And the streaming stuff just gets better and better. I have been predominantly playing Cyberpunk via GeForce Now. Like,
Ooh, GeForce Now on Oculus Quest.
it is not, but I just plug my laptop in and do it that way and use it
Okay.
as a mirror it. Um,
Does that also power it at the same time?
yes,
Nice.
it does. So you can you can also like side load apps and do shit like that with the Quest
Well,
to
yeah, I
allow it to
installed
run natively.
SideQuest already.
Oh, well then you can do it like you can natively get it on there if
Oh,
you
cool.
want via that process, I think. Um,
Weird thing, if you do Xbox on something like Quest or even on your phone, you can't do game chat. Chat
mm,
doesn't work. You can't do party chat. Like the
the
microphone
cloud.
services don't work.
Mm,
Yeah. Which I
gotcha.
guess because
Interesting.
they're prioritizing the game connection, that's a separate
Yeah.
audio. Like, so I had to put an earbud in while I was playing on Quest, and I went into party chat through my
On your
phone
phone.
Xbox app. That's how
There
I
you
did
go.
that when we played.
That's funny.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
that's how
mean,
Nintendo does it.
yeah, I think that the cloud is still a lot in a very, I think ultimately they will plan so that, I mean, I think they said this even when they announced it, like their ultimate goal is to have every game you own via Xbox will eventually be playable in the cloud. It won't just be Game Pass games. And I'm sure that I think ultimately a cloud Xbox is going to be the final form rather than just a simple interface
Yeah.
of you boot in, you boot into the game, and you're playing the game. Like, you will have
I
all
want
of
them to
those
get the fucking
additional
app
settings.
onto the App Store. I don't understand why they don't have an app on the App Store yet.
Well, that Apple won't allow them to
It
do
doesn't
that
make any sense because you can they have the Netflix app. Like, why is that any different?
because you are not having to load all of those shows and everything exist within the Netflix space. I actually no. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just it's gaming because the thing is that the
It's a
the
bullshit answer, whatever it is.
no, I mean
I'm
it's a
glad they're
bullshit
being taken
answer
to
for
task on
sure.
some of this nonsense. Like, I love Apple products, but like some of this nonsense
No,
needs to be
I
taken
I mean
care of.
I completely agree. Like, it's a whatever their excuse is, it is
Yeah,
bullshit. But
it's
there
bullshit.
is there is an excuse. Um um yeah.
It's like, especially
Um
the Game Pass cloud stuff, because it's like, oh, well, none of this is for purchase. So this isn't like a workaround from purchase. These are all streamed games that you have access to in a library. Like, there's no difference other than it being a video game and a movie in the way that Game Pass works
mhm.
on like your phone versus Netflix. So there's zero reason why it shouldn't be available in an app, because I want that app on like Apple TV, because then I could just have it on all the Apple TVs in my house and I could just load up like Xbox on Game Pass. Like, that would be such a
Yeah.
slam dunk. But I think
Yeah.
it's because Apple believes half-heartedly that one day they'll get into gaming. Like, they always pretend they're going to,
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, they obviously have their own video streaming service right now, or maybe they're
which
worried
is
that,
great, by the way.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the well, all those shows uh For Mankind is on there.
Yeah.
Masters of Air coming out.
But also has like one of like the highest bit rates and like best quality.
Yeah,
Like,
quality wise,
the
yes,
quality is
also.
unbelievable, but also the quality of the shows has been pretty phenomenal. They don't have as many things, but a lot of the stuff that comes out on there has been really, really good.
Agreed. Okay, in other news, speaking of things coming out in 2024, it seems like the Metal Gear Solid 3, aka There's Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, aka Metal Gear Solid Delta, might be coming out this year. PlayStation posted a trailer that was specifically highlighting games that are scheduled for 2024. And we have not had an official announcement from Konami about this, but included in that trailer was Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. They also included footage of the Silent Hill 2 remake as well in this trailer. There's been no additional words, nothing from PlayStation, nothing from Sony about this, about whether this is officially confirming these games are coming out this year. But I would honestly guess that it's likely that they would. I mean, PlayStation has a pretty slim year. Currently, I don't think they have any first party stuff on slate. The only first party stuff we know about is Wolverine, which is not supposedly coming out till 2026. Um, Maybe they get some of their live service stuff out this year, but it's an interesting year for PlayStation. All of their good games that are exclusive, being like third party Final Fantasy VII Remake, they're probably looking to make sure. Oh no, well, Metal Gear Solid Delta is not even exclusive to PlayStation, so it doesn't even matter.
Give me the Metal Gear Solid 4 remake where he's old.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 is great. I mean, I think eventually we'll get to all of them. Slater is in the chat, and he makes a comment referring to the last thing we're talking about, which was um the Xbox Game Pass not being on the App Store. He says, I think it's because Game Pass would support purchases outside of the App Store, which breaks Apple's terms of service. And I do think that is the reason, but you can't.
But I don't think you can in the current Game Pass cloud version anyway that you do from Safari. I don't think you can purchase shit. I think you have to
You
use.
can't. Right, you can't purchase.
So just don't have that in
Yeah,
there the same way that like,
yeah,
like the Kindle app doesn't support purchases.
yeah,
Like it seems like such a weird decision because
yeah.
that would be such a fucking slam dunk on an Apple TV to have.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't sell because the Xbox app. Oh no, I think the Xbox app is all in. Yeah, because I think maybe it is like.
The Xbox app used to have a store, it doesn't anymore
Well, maybe they took it off because they're eventually going to release
because,
of
well, they took
this.
it off because of the App Store rules. So,
Gotcha.
but that's why I'm like, well, like if I go to the Game Pass app, right? I
Can
can
I not buy
install it to
game?
my
I can't
Xbox
buy
or I
games
can
from the
stream it,
PlayStation
but I
app.
can't. Um,
Let me see. Let me see here.
you can actually.
There's a store logo.
Yeah, you
There's a
can.
holiday sale. I can buy tons of shit
No,
from
you
here.
know how I know you can because that's how I buy all of my stuff because I don't want to type in my complex password on the PlayStation. And I have
Yeah,
complex
pre-order. Yeah,
passwords and two-factor on fucking everything because each one of these companies has had some kind of a breach at one point or another.
yeah.
So, it's like whatever.
I
Such
don't
a pain
know.
in the ass.
I don't know what the reason is, but anyway,
It's a bad
Metal Gear
reason.
Solid. It's a bad reason, that's for sure. Metal Gear Solid Delta 2 Snake Eater and Silent Hill 2 remake. Um, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm excited for Indiana Jones.
Uh,
I want to see Indiana Jones. Like
yeah.
you know, that's what I care about right now. Is that better be good? How much do you think it's going to be like Uncharted or like it because it's got to be better, right? Because Uncharted's cool for the story and the visuals, but the gameplay's always been kind of lacking. So like they really need to like land the actual gameplay and puzzle solving in this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be very much like Uncharted. I mean, it's Indiana Jones, so it's we already have there's a little bit, at least a little bit of a known quantity about what it's going to be like. They're going to have to nail a lot of the music, the writing style that they're going to have to emulate. Yeah, I mean, I think it will be. I like the Uncharted games. I like the way those games feel. But I mean, it's been 8 years since we've had since we've had an Uncharted game. So this is really going to, that was a very early PlayStation 4 title. So this is going to feel, I think, way better than those. I think it's going to be great. I mean, Machine Games, they make the Wolfenstein, New Colossus, and New Order were the two Wolfenstein games they make, which will, I think, feel very different. I think they've also confirmed that this is a third person game, unlike Wolfenstein, which is first person. So that'll be interesting. Um, as to, you know, them making a game in third person. But I think it will be great. I do think it'll
Hell
be
yeah.
really good. I mean, I'm very excited to see more about this game.
When
Um,
when do you
mm.
think we can start to be annoyed about not hearing more about Perfect Dark? Because I think it's like a real stupid thing that they even showed that. I understand why they do it because they need to like drum up interest and stuff, but man, that's a long time to show a teaser for like what has like it's like a beloved franchise to some people. It has like a real cult following, and then to just fucking silence for I feel like we get one more year, and then next year, like we at least we need to hear something. We need to be like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that that game has had. I mean, we've had some reports on that game's development, which has been very troubled. The kind of quadruple A, and you know, the initial things they were talking about this game. I think a lot of that has been walked back since those announcements were made. So I just think that the game is having some difficulty in production. I also think that it's probably a very different project than when it was first announced. And I think we're also seeing, yeah, Slater in the chat says, "Where the fuck is Perfect Dark? I'm hurt." Yeah. Unfortunately, I have very few connections to that game, if any. So other than the fact that like I think it'll be cool when it eventually comes out. So I'm not, you know, champing at the bit here to see it. But yeah, I just think that I think that we won't. I do not think we will hear about it this year. I think that
yeah,
Xbox is now playing a lot of their cards closer to the chest, especially with the Activision acquisition now completed. I think they will just try and put their nose to the grindstone and get these games out. And we probably won't hear about that game until like a year out from its release. Um, yeah, I mean the world in which Perfect Dark was announced is a very different world than the current gaming
that's true.
landscape.
That's true.
So,
Just that
um,
first one, Tom, was, I mean, it took all the good ideas of GoldenEye and then made them work and made them so much better.
mm,
And they weren't encumbered by like the GoldenEye license, so they could do whatever they want. So they had like really unique weapons, and like all the guns had secondary firing modes, and like a lot of them were like really fucking cool. Then it had all these like weird gadgets and stuff, and ah, it was unbelievable. Partially because of the N64 expansion pack too. It was like the
oh
best
right,
looking. It was like
yes.
so good looking for an N64 game. It was great. It's a great game. Oh well, what are you gonna do? We've
What are
got
you
the
gonna
Hitman
do?
game coming at least. The Hitman James Bond. So
The
spy games
Hitman
will be
James
back
Bond
soon.
game, yeah. A couple of last bits of news before we wrap it up. Speaking of Xbox, it seems that we might be getting some Xbox exclusives coming to other platforms. It is rumored that Hi-Fi Rush will be coming to Nintendo Switch, which makes perfect sense for that. I could even see there being, that being a great title on the whatever the next Switch is.
That was a fun
There's
game.
rumors that Sea of Thieves will come to PlayStation, which makes total sense with it being a
Will that
um
run on a Switch, or it probably have to go to the next Switch?
Hi-Fi Rush.
No, Sea of Thieves.
I think it could run on a Switch. You could probably get it to run on a Switch. Yeah. I mean, the rumor is that it's coming to. I don't know if it's rumored to be coming to Switch and PlayStation, but PlayStation is what I had read.
It just seems like a game that
Yeah,
would be better for a Nintendo audience too, in a way, you know?
yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I think that
I
again,
just don't know if you could get that to run on a Switch.
I think that Xbox's strategy is, you know, not only are we trying to get Game Pass on all these platforms, but like eventually we're going to make some of these exclusives non-exclusives. I would not be
Yeah.
surprised if I would not be surprised if when all the Starfield DLC is done and there's a well, not Game of the Year edition, but you know, complete edition or whatever of
You're
that
leaving
comes to
money on the table if you
PlayStation.
don't,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's not, and
Not
that
all
they're in
games will
a
do it, but a lot will.
and they're not in, you know, I think that they originally thought like, okay, Game Pass will sell consoles, but they clearly realize that, as they've said, like they're not in the console That's just a part of this ecosystem that they're trying to push.
Which makes me wonder if the next time around, maybe they shouldn't have the S console, because it feels like it's got to be a more expensive endeavor to have multiple SKUs too.
Yeah,
It's like if
a
you're
good point.
basically going to be kind of a third party, like you're going to have your own gaming hardware for your like few exclusives you have and stuff, but you're really selling like the Game Pass service, then like it feels like just have the one SKU, right? But maybe not. I mean, their math must tell them something otherwise if they're doing this.
Well, I mean, I think that also, like, again, like it made sense when they were coming up with this generation, which was, in the late 2010s, to
Yeah.
have two consoles. But again, at the rate at which like cloud gaming is coming together, like it probably doesn't make sense for you to have that for the next generation. So yeah, maybe next gen they don't do that. Um, yeah, we'll have to see with that one. And then the last little bit of news here
Is
is
that Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age are going to be available on the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo Switch expansion
online
pass.
January 17th.
Yep. I am so excited.
You gonna
I
jump back
mean,
in? You gonna play?
uh, to be honest with you, I think I actually would play it on my Pocket first.
Sure. Probably
So
the best
probably
place to
not,
put
but
it.
I'm excited for a lot of people who've heard about these games and haven't really had a way to play them. I mean, two of the coolest JRPGs of that entire system. It is unbelievable, and it's really a franchise that Nintendo needs to try to revive. They should really bring it back. They should try and do one more. They should do another Golden Sun.
They
It's
should,
really, really, really
especially
good.
because they correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, other than like one-off things like Super Mario RPG and the Paper Mario series, like they don't really have their own like Xenoblade
Xenoblade,
is that Nintendo though?
yeah,
Is it?
yeah,
Nintendo published?
I think
Okay.
so. Because I don't think it's on anything else.
Well, it's not on anything else, but is
And
it
it
published
was
by
in
Nintendo?
Smash.
Oh yeah, Nintendo is a publisher of it. Okay, so they do have Xenoblade. Oh, and they have Fire Emblem. Duh. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
but
think
Fire
they could
Emblem's a
throw another one in the
different
mix, you know.
kind of thing. And Xenoblade's is Xenoblade currently turn-based or is it now like different? I think it the gameplay is different.
We played it. You played it.
Oh my God, I did play that game. Yeah, it's not the same kind of so like Golden Sun would fill like a niche that they don't really have other than Pokemon, but it's a very different kind of thing
They
than
could even
Pokemon
make
is.
it like their line of HD 2D stuff, like if
Oh
they did it in that like format, like
God, Tom, that would be amazing because
yeah.
Golden Sun already, by the way, is probably like top five best looking GBA games.
Yeah.
Like no question. I will tell you though, that's not the game I'm looking forward to playing the most next week.
What you got?
Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Is that coming out next week?
I thought so. Is it coming out 2 weeks? I thought it was coming out
I
like,
think it's in February.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I got my wires crossed here. I thought it was coming like next week. Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Early
2 weeks.
February, right?
January.
It is January?
Oh,
Okay.
no, no, no. No, wrong one popped up. The wrong date popped up. You're right. It's February. Okay, so a month. I thought that was next week. I must have saw the 16th and then just put that in my brain as next week and not looked
Oh
at
yeah,
it.
January. Yeah, 2016. Yeah, I see what you
It's got a
went wrong
ton of
there.
new stuff in it apparently, so I'm really excited.
Do you have a lot of fun memories of this one?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's really fun. It's very charming. I think you'll like it a lot.
Okay.
I think you'll be a fan of it. It's very like easy also like, oh, want to play something for 15 minutes? This is that game.
I mean, I think they announced that it has local co-op, so that seems like a slam dunk for me
Oh
and
yeah,
Brooke to play.
then you're set. Yeah.
Set, baby.
Hell yeah. Tom, let's do a listener mail. What do you think?
Let's do listener mail.
Email at unrankedpodcast.com or 805-738-8692. That's in the show notes. 805 Retunya, Retunya, or you can go to questions for pod. Go to the link in the Discord. It's in our show notes. Good questions for the pod. This came in from Spiffy. In your opinion, how important is it to know the most frequently used words and phrases in American Sign Language? And how much of it do you know?
In sign?
Yeah.
Oh God, none. I know thank you is that.
Yeah.
That's about it, which is funny because I mean I wonder if they wrote it in because they've been watching Echo.
Oh,
But seeing
probably not because they brought this in a week prior.
okay. Yeah, no, I don't know any. I would like to. I know. We had a coworker at
Well, this is what I
Apple.
was gonna say was I'm
Yeah,
upset that I can't really say I know any because at one point I knew a lot because of our coworker, and now I
yeah.
forgot it all because I trained him. And so he taught me while I was training him like a
I
bunch of
remember
stuff.
bullshit. You remember bullshit?
Yes, yes.
I remember bullshit. I like
That was
that
a good
one.
one. Yep. Yep.
So I know
He
thank you and bullshit, which is the only two you really need to know.
I knew the
There's
whole
nothing more to
alphabet and a
say.
bunch of other phrases at one point, and now I don't remember any of it. Which, by the way, why is it American Sign Language? Why, like, doesn't this feel like the best opportunity to have just a universal
Well, it
signing
is.
language?
That's the thing is like, I mean, there are other sign languages, but from what I understand, ASL is like the definitive one.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are multiple different
I just assumed
types
that
of
meant that
signing.
like every country had their own signing.
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
There are other types, but ASL is like pretty universally
Oh, okay.
used.
Damn, that's
And
awesome.
yeah,
I kind
yeah,
of want to learn that. I think it should be taught in schools. I think I think if you gave kids a choice to learn that or Spanish or French, you would have a lot more people.
yeah,
Like
I
those, I
agree.
think kids would have way more fun with that. I would have
Yeah,
loved to learn that in school.
yeah,
That would be awesome. And it would be so great for like the ASL like deaf community. Like
yeah,
it would be,
100%.
I'm sure people would probably be appreciative to have other people who actually do what signs were. Maybe not. Maybe, you know, the secret
No, I think
language wouldn't be such a secret anymore.
no, I think that they would I think that they would generally appreciate it.
You know what the problem would be
Yeah.
then, Tom? You'd have kids just like signing shit to each other all the time. The parents wouldn't know what's going on. They're
Well,
like, the
that's why
teachers are
everyone
like,
needs to
yeah.
learn. That's why everyone needs to learn.
The
So you
teachers would have
know.
to learn it too because they're like, I
Yeah.
don't know what the kids are saying. I tell them to keep quiet, but then they're just moving their hands now.
Yeah. Yeah, now yeah, that's a good point. That is a good you can chat all your can you imagine like kids like signing to each other like it's a silent room but they're all
Yeah.
signing to each other and the teacher's like silence like,
Yeah.
quiet in the room.
They'll have to do those old like dividers, like what during tests and stuff now, because kids won't be talking, but they'll be like scratching their heads, but doing like a sign
Yeah,
on there,
doing a sign behind
like just
that.
doing the
Yeah.
like the alphabet, like
Yeah.
saying like one
Like
C, two.
you'd have a lot more people cheating at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah. I mean, maybe it would bring chaos if everyone used sign language. Maybe we wouldn't be able to. We'd have to restructure the world in a way. But yeah. No, I know very little. Thank you, bullshit. There's one from Echo, which is family. I think it's like
Oh,
that, or
okay.
maybe it's two fingers that
Does
they
Vin
keep
Diesel come
doing.
in to say that?
Yeah, he's popping in there. He's actually playing Kingpin. It turns out they recast Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Um, yeah. So there you go.
Well, Tom, if you had to be the villain in a game franchise, what villain would you want to be? And this is
I
from
th
Narcus.
Yeah, I saw this one actually, and I thought about it. I would be Sephiroth.
What the
Uh,
fuck?
yeah, I'd be Sephiroth because I don't know how much you know about the story of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but uh, when you find out his kind of motivations and why he's doing the things he's doing, not all, the bad guy in someone's eye for sure. He's a beautiful man, and I love a novelty big sword. I love an oversized sword. Big fan of those. He's got this like ridiculously long katana. He's got one wing, which is really fucking cool as well. Like he's just cool, and I can get behind his message. A lot of villains are just like evil for especially in video games, evil for the sake of evil, but he's got his motives, and I don't think he's necessarily wrong. So
But isn't he like a murderer?
yes. I mean he's murdered people for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like I mean, I'm picking to be a villain, man. Like
That's true.
uh, you know, I don't want to be like a Bowser who's just like fucking bumbling his way through life, like always just like the definition of madness, just doing the same shit over and over again and not accomplishing the task. What about you? I mean, what who would you have to pick?
I mean, part of me wants to just say Giovanni because then you get Mewtwo. You're gonna have Mewtwo for a little while, man.
I mean, I
Very
bet
few
you
people can
Giovanni's.
control Mewtwo.
I bet Giovanni's killed a motherfucker though. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
probably
Like
true. That's probably true.
he's probably set Persian on someone.
Yeah.
You know?
He's probably like had Mewtwo just like reduce someone to their atoms.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the enslavement of Mewtwo is like really fucked up.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say they're all enslaved in
Well,
black
that's
and white.
yeah, but it's really fucked up in Mewtwo's
Yeah, that's
case.
true.
Anyway, okay, but Giovanni, I do
I
like
wonder what
that
the
though.
best
He's
answers
cool.
for that are, because a lot of them are like really one note villains, you know.
Yeah,
So I wonder what because the most
and
interesting villains, like a lot of them are like
but the other problem
maniacs.
is like yeah, and then that's the other thing is yeah, exactly.
I
The
don't want to
other
be
villains
Voss.
who
I
are
don't want to
like
be Handsome Jack. I don't want to be the Joker. I don't want to be
yeah,
GLaDOS. Like great villains,
any of the villains
fucking
from Last of
maniacs.
Us. Like I don't want to be any of
Yeah,
those guys.
yeah.
You know, yeah, that was my thing. Is like I was thinking about the villains. I was like, well, they either one note or they're
Could you be
interesting,
Thor?
but
Thor's
like,
kind of like a villain in God of War.
oh, Odin or Thor or
Yeah,
Balder in the first game.
that's not
Those
bad.
aren't bad. Those aren't
That's not
bad.
bad.
Thor specifically in Ragnarok is actually probably a good choice as well. Um, don't want to spoil anything there, but
Ooh, what
yeah.
about you could be Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
mean,
want to be
look,
Venom. I
yeah,
wouldn't want to be Venom.
yeah, not necessarily the one that's in the Spider-Man 2. I mean, I dig the version of Craven in that game, but I mean,
You want to
he,
be the most depraved villain I can think of,
he
Tom? Like one
go
of the
ahead.
most twisted villains would be Scratch.
Yeah, scratch if that, but no, I would not want to live that life for sure. Um, yeah, no, Sephiroth I think is a great choice.
All right, it's
Yeah,
great. All right, well,
I I had a game, but it required
we're gonna
Tuna
do
being
it. Yeah.
here, so
Well,
we'll play
so
it
next week we're gonna have a game from Tom. I've got a fun thing for next week as well. So
We
be
got a
ready for that.
challenge.
We've also got a challenge as well for next week. Tom, have you done that? It sounds like Alex has. I've not.
It sounds like he's done it. I've been playing. The only times we're playing Halo is with you.
Same,
Bronies,
same.
so-
I'm gonna have to get on alone and play. So we have quite a bit to look forward to. So look forward to that. And until next time, everybody, you know what to do. Go home, get online, stay unranked.
Suck it.